The teaching hospital of Tikrit once served over 1.5 million people. 3 years after Iraqi forces liberated the town from the Islamic State group, the building remains in tatters. It is a testimony to the unforgiving intensity and astronomical cost of Iraq's latest war.
Fighters from the IS group took up positions inside the hospital, so the Iraqi army had to use all means necessary to uproot them from the building.
Riyad Jaber is a member of Tikrit's municipal council. His son Omar was born in this hospital. His and many other medical records are now buried under the rubble, dusty remnants of life before the war.
Just removing all this rubble is going to take a lot of time, and it will require a lot of money.
Money that the local government does not have. Instead, the United Nations plans to rebuild the hospital. Elsewhere in the city, infrastructure projects have come to a halt. Since the beginning of the war against the IS group, the central government in Baghdad has slashed budget allocations to regional governments.
Before the Islamic State group, Tikrit had the potential to be one of Iraq's top cities in terms of economy and tourism. But all of this is now stopped.
3 years have gone by since liberation, but life in Tikrit has still not returned to normal. The city, best known as Saddam Hussein's hometown, used to be a busy gateway between North and South Iraq. Today, shops are closed, and there is little traffic along its main thoroughfares. To build a future, the government will also need to address deep psychological trauma and social rifts left in the wake of the war. Many of these children lived under IS rule and survived the battle that brought about its demise. Safa Ramadan helps them to catch up on years without schooling and to cope with their difficult past.
The children have lived through things they shouldn't have experienced. They've seen people being killed in front of their eyes. This generation will struggle to find a positive outlook and will always have some sort of problems.
The majority of these displaced children are from the nearby town of Beji, which has been almost entirely destroyed.
Our house was destroyed during the fighting, and it hasn't been cleared of mines yet. But I'd prefer to go back rather than stay here. Isn't it better to stay in your own house?
There is little hope of returning to Beji soon. Until then, Ammar and his family are stuck in makeshift housing in Tikrit.
There are families who've nowhere else to live, so this is the best solution they could find. They've set up emergency shelters and live underneath the rubble.
Unable to afford rent and with no help from the government, Ammar's family had little choice but to move into these ruins, homes destroyed during airstrikes. More than 2 years after its liberation, the government has done nothing to rebuild the city. The residents of Beji have come to accept that if they want to return, they will have to foot the bill for reconstruction.
Nobody has come here to ask us what we need. I've been here for 1 month, or even a month and a half, and nobody has come. We don't even have electricity or water.
Donating money without addressing widespread corruption in Iraq's government will not be much use. So says Sheikh Nadal, one of many tribal elders and local politicians who have lost faith in the central government.
If donors give the money to the government, we won't benefit at all. They should come here, see the situation with their own eyes, and help the people directly. Iraq is one of the richest countries in the world, but as long as you have leaders like ours, the people will remain poor. We never receive anything.
The war against the IS group allowed the government to rally popular support while turning a blind eye to its own failures. Now that the terror group has officially been defeated, the government must address its shortcomings to lead Iraq towards a better future.